Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday. Is it Thursday already?
Oh,
my gosh. Time flies when you have a cold. All of today's guests, including John Shannon, are brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. G-Men, and again, Barclay Parnetta of the Giants going to join us in a little bit here. The G-Men are at the LEC for back-to-back games this weekend. Saturday, they take on Spokane at 7, and Sunday, they face Prince George at 4, followed by a family post-game skate. Those are always fun. Head to VancouverGiants.com to get tickets for those games and the Teddy Bear Toss game on December 14th against Victoria. I was way off with the Nikita Zadorov contract, and I apologize for that. 6 years. $5 million per.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a tough one to consume, boy.
You know who wouldn't mind Zadorov going from the Bruins to the Canucks?
Who?
The Bruins. Well, the way things have gone, 20 games in, maybe. Again, they'd have to eat some of that. So my apologies. As we welcome NHL analyst, a hockey storyteller, John Shannon. Thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm great, boys. By the way, Donnie, is there a timeline on your cold? I'd like to know if
apparently not. Apparently not. No. Rick doesn't have. He doesn't have the scoop on my cold.
On the timeline.
No.
By the way, just for the record, we are live.
There you go. For people wondering.
Yeah.
You haven't pulled that one out for a while. We appreciate that, John. I missed it.
Well, I got Mike here too. So
okay.
I got everybody here.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Well, we're back. We're back in the home office. That's what you see. When you moved me from Thursday to Wednesday, I have to be somewhere else. So I'm in the home office today.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll get a tour one of these days of the home office. I think we already have, actually. Hey, can you understand? I mean, what are you, 40 losses in a short period of time? You understand why the Bruins got rid of Montgomery, Jim Montgomery?
Oh yeah. Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I think that this is anybody that says that they're surprised at it hasn't been following the Bruins for the last 3.5 weeks. You know, this goes back to a few of the confrontations on the bench. This goes back to the benching of David Pastrnak. This goes back to, unfortunately, in the world of professional sports, coaches lose rooms. And I think it was pretty evident in the last 10 days that Jim Montgomery had lost the room somehow, some way. And you guys know that the security of contracts now, it's easier to fire one than it is 23. Yeah. And so if you've watched the Bruins, they have not played well. There has been no spark whatsoever. Now, guys like Lindholm and Zadorov coming to Boston have not helped to contribute, but they miss Hampus Lindholm, who's injured. Jeremy Swayman has not lived up to $8.25 million. But in the end, the focal point was on Jim Montgomery because that's the price you pay for being an NHL coach. The other interesting thing is that Don Sweeney kind of slipped it in his press conference yesterday, is that they had talked about an extension for Montgomery. They had talked about an extension for Montgomery and could not reach an agreeable number, which means Montgomery turned down a number. He turned down an extension. Whether it was the number that he wanted or not is now a moot point. But the fact that Don Sweeney said, we were in contract negotiations and we couldn't get to a mutually agreeable number tells me that they said, hey, Jim, here's the extension. Here's the dollar figures. Do you want it? And he said, no, I want more. And I think that was another part of what was going on with the management of the Bruins and the former coach.
John, you must have been surprised like we were about J.T. Miller. Looks like he needs a reset, a mental and a physical break. What were your thoughts when you heard that?
Well, I nobody has worn Canuck blue on his sleeve better than J.T. Miller since he arrived in Vancouver. Nobody has been more dedicated emotionally and physically to the franchise than J.T. Miller. I think we can all understand it. I think we all understand burnout, if that's what it is that occurs. I can only hope that he comes back better and stronger than ever, because he's a valuable member of the Vancouver Canucks. And by the way, he would have been a valuable, and hopefully he still will be, a valuable member of Team USA in February at the Four Nations Face-Off.
Yep.
So, I just, every once in a while we get kicked in the rear reminding ourselves and everybody that hockey players are human too. We put them on such pedestals, we criticize them, and sometimes they take the criticism, and sometimes they don't. And I just hope that JT's okay.
I thought Vancouver did a tremendous job with the Grey Cup, John. Donnie was at all the festival. A great vibe right throughout the downtown core.
You're at home.
I'm getting old. Listen, 3.6 million, John, watched. That's a big number. That's a big number. There's no hockey game that's getting 3.6 million Canadians, not during the regular season. That's a good number for the Grey Cup.
It's okay. There have been numbers in years past that are bigger.
Yep.
There's a couple of things that I think that come into play there. There was a point where nobody would program against the Grey Cup. Well, the Canucks played at home, and the NHL had a full slate of games on the Sunday. There was a time when that would not have occurred. The NFL is a different animal. The other thing is that you saw the commitment from Bell to put it not just on TSN, but put it back over the air on CTV.
Yep.
Which allowed for that number to be better. So sports is really the last bastion of live television. And so something like the Grey Cup, I think it's great for the league. I think it's great for football fans in our country. And, the only thing you think there and sit there and say, well, can we have a closer game? But you ended up having a hell of enough stories to tell through a Grey Cup between Toronto and Winnipeg.
Yep. Now, speaking of the Grey Cup, your Twitter post from Sunday, Paul Graham, well known in our business, producing his last Grey Cup for TSN. He started in 1987 with the big game, and we have that picture here. We got it here. Now, do you have any idea who the good-looking young guy to the left of Paul is?
Well, you know what? I used to clean up okay.
Yeah.
That picture was taken by the CFL photographer at center field at BC Place about 2 hours before game time of the Argo Eskimo Grey Cup in 1987. And that was both of our first Grey Cups. And Paul and I were lucky enough to be the co-creators of the Canadian Football Network that existed for 5 years, that helped get the CFL through hard times with Commissioner Doug Mitchell, who started it. So Paul and I have remained great friends. We're great friends today, and no one has contributed more to the success of the CFL and to the CFL on TSN than Paul Graham. He will do his last major event for TSN in Ottawa at the World Junior Hockey Championships, another one of his great passions. And I will tell you right now, I don't think there is anybody in our business at any network that has done more quality contributions to the game, to television in sports than Paul Graham has the last 3 decades. He doesn't get a lot of acclaim. He got a lot on Sunday, which I'm happy for because he's a friend of mine. But Paul has been a huge, huge impact and had a huge impact on sports television in our country for a long period of time, and he should enjoy the accolades he's getting because he deserves every one of them.
Well said. And for the young kids out there thinking about getting into this crazy and crazier than ever business of ours, there are a lot of really good jobs. And Paul will tell you this, so will John, behind the scenes, John, as opposed to being in front of the camera like us two knuckleheads.
Yep.
I would tell you there are a lot more jobs behind the scenes that are a lot more secure.
Yeah, you nailed that part.
We
Trust
know
me.
that.
Trust me, I have lived both sides. And you don't have to worry near as much as what people are thinking about you when you're behind the scenes as you are sitting in front of the camera.
Yeah, we know it well, John. Hey, thanks for this. And you were live, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, you know what? And if we keep this up, I might give you a tour. Because there's.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
There are some, I'm not suggesting it's going to happen, but there are some artifacts here that you might enjoy.
All right. Well, we'll hold you to that, John.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Cheers, boys.